Champ here. I'm hanging out with the horror honeys. Whammy!
Hey everybody, welcome to Honey Radio. This is a little bit of a different podcast today because it's just me, the head honey here at Horror Honey headquarters, and with me today is a very special guest who's here to talk about a film that all of the honeys are desperately in love with, which is Cheap Thrills. And I'd like you to help me welcome Mr. David Koechner to the program. We are super, super excited to have him here, and I'm really excited for you guys to hear what he has to say about Cheap Thrills and about what he's up to in his crazy little life. So listen in.
Hello, horror honeys.
Hello, David. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. How many honeys are there?
There are 7 of us.
All right.
Yeah, managing 7 women is very interesting.
You the lead mare?
I am. This is all my fault.
Or all to your credit?
Time will tell.
Yeah.
As it always does. So I took some time this morning and I watched some of your YouTube videos. You're full on Koechner.
Oh, uh-huh.
I gotta say, Cats and Balls is my favorite.
That was just a silly attempt to, as you know, amalgamate or put together the things that are most popular on the internet, which are cats or guys getting hit in the balls. I thought, well, let's just do both and see what kind of reaction we get.
I like it, but I mean, my cats are ball steppers from way back, so.
All right.
I identified with the cats. And my husband was like, yeah, that happens a lot.
Right.
Yeah. It's one of those things. So, I also saw an interview that you did with Fangoria, and I know that you don't like horror movies.
Well, I'm not, it's not I don't like them. They scare me so much that I don't seek them out. It's true.
I think that's fair.
Especially supernatural really scares me.
Yeah.
Because I will start thinking it's possible. So I don't seek them out. Yeah, I'm not a horror fanboy. It's true.
That's fair enough.
You are. You always have been?
Yes. Yeah, since I was really little.
Since you were very little?
Yeah. I was in love with Vincent Price when I was like 4.
Wow.
And I would march around being like, I'm going to marry Vincent Price. I mean, obviously it didn't work out, but.
I think that's a healthy acceptance of your mortality. You're in touch with that. Because I think that's what horror is. It puts us in touch with our own mortality. That's my theory.
Yeah, and I mean, it just really reveals how frail we all are and how easily it is to end things.
Right.
And it can happen anytime.
Right,
so,
right.
I think that is the scariest part about it.
The great finality. Mm-hmm. We should end things every day. Cut off relationships just to see that's as close as we can get to death.
Oh, God. But I mean, that's why people hold on to those things, is to prevent that from happening.
Probably.
Ugh. That's because you're gonna get approached by quite a few horror people, I think, in regards to this, which is strange because Cheap Thrills is not a horror movie in the strictest sense. Right.
Well, I've done. Let's see. I've done Final Destination 5, which is not necessarily horror, but it's in the genre.
Mm-hmm.
I've done Piranha 3 Double D, again, just outside the genre.
Yeah.
And then Cheap Thrills. I describe Cheap Thrills as a sinister thriller with dark comedic undertones where sex is always in play.
Yeah.
But when you see the final image of Pat Healy's character, I can see how you'd say, oh, there's horror.
Yeah.
Because there are many horrors that are happening, but there's not that surprise factor that is typical of horror. There's not that scare factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
there aren't any jolting moments, but it's a different kind of experience.
Well, I mean, the kind of horror that I'm really, I don't want to say really into, but really fascinates me is the real life horror. So like true crime, historical crime, and things like that. I think Cheap Thrills kind of falls into that because it's that dark heart of man kind of approach.
Possible, right? That horrible possibility.
Exactly. Okay, so I have a bunch of questions from the other girls, which I sent you earlier, so you're kind of prepared.
Yes, kind of prepped.
So I only chose a couple of them, and I'm just going to read off my little sheet here. So how important do you think Sarah Paxton's mostly silent role was in contrast to your super gregarious one? I know the general consensus amongst the girls is that Sarah's character is really the darkest of the whole film.
I agree. it's so interesting because she speaks the least off, obviously, but she's really the one that's in charge. And that one monologue she gives about breaking bones kind of describes what this whole thing's about.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that she's so detached from life because of that instant that kind of leads to where they are now. And I think they both are broken inside,
mm-hmm.
and that's why they found each other and are together. And so they're seeking out the horrible comfort of controlling human damage.
Yeah. Seeking out other broken people.
Uh-huh.
Who won't
And then
really question what's going on.
Asking them to break themselves. I mean, if you want to extrapolate that a little further, I mean, in a way, everyone's broken somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think your characters, both of your characters in particular, were really adept at finding where to find those little cracks and break them further.
Yeah. And, but these two have become sociopaths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I know my husband and I are sitting in the theater, he's like, oh, fuck, oh my God. I'm like, uh-huh. Yeah. So, you're obviously not the only comedian to step into darker roles. How does your comedy background help in terms of how an audience will or won't accept you in a darker role like this one?
Well, typically I'd say it hurts me because when I was growing up, I didn't want to see a comic in a darker role, but I was fortunate, and this one kind of lets me start as an affable, gregarious guy,
mm-hmm.
and slowly pull them into or get into a more sinister character.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit of both. You go, oh, there's the guy I think I like, and then like, oh, and so they slowly take the journey with us, which is a great way for me to introduce the idea to the audience. Like, okay, I'll let him do something else.
Mm-hmm. Because I know I had that problem when I was younger. Seeing Robin Williams crazy on stage, and then seeing him in something like What Dreams May Come, and it absolutely destroying my face.
Yes.
And,
yes.
I think those branching outs are healthy.
Yes, I think they're healthy.
Especially as an actor.
For your audience, yeah. But I've done so many different types of movies that I think people are willing to accept me for whatever I might do. At least I hope so.
Fingers crossed.
But, Will Smith did I Am Legend.
Yes.
And, sometimes he was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So he's a guy that can do everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree, and I think people forgive him a lot. I mean, he was great in iRobot, too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things. Once you prove that you can do it, and you can do it well, I think that makes all the difference.
Yeah, then they're okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. So do you like being the goofball most of the time?
Probably.
Yeah. I like that. Makes it more fun.
Mm-hmm.
You can just be a giant 10-year-old for the rest of your life.
That's true. I mean, my job is to play. So I get to play. But I want to make sure I get your friend's questions. Mm-hmm. You're a large man. How does that physically imposing build work into the context of Cheap Thrills? I don't think of myself as imposing. So I can see how on screen that might play into those ideas of this guy could also, in this particular film, Cheap Thrills, I have to handle myself in
mm-hmm.
a very adept manner at one point. So I guess that plays into the believability that, he could overtake another man.
Yeah.
So
I think fun. That also comes up. I was actually going to leave that one out.
You were?
Yeah. I think that one.
Your friends asked it, right?
They did.
All right. Well, then
that's fine.
Number 3. Do you want number 3? Do you want me to read it?
No, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
With your roles in Cheap Thrills and on TV's Justified this past year, which do you feel comes more naturally? We kind of did this already, comedy or drama, which comes more naturally to you?
Oh, easily. What more naturally is comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's hard not to. Like, if that's your life, it's kind of like what just pops out anyway.
It certainly comes naturally, and I like to make people laugh. So, yes, that's more natural. I certainly enjoy doing all kinds of different things, and Justified was a blast to do. And certainly something much different.
You've done a lot of TV recently. Which do you like more? Doing TV stuff and doing serials, or doing full-length features?
Well, right now I'm writing a television show for NBC. It's kind of an innovative variety show, and my hope is that runs for 10 years. That way I can stay home, drop my kids at school, and then pick them up. most days
Most
and
days.
catch their games.
Yeah.
Movies these days, you have to usually shoot out of town, which is rewarding but difficult to be away from the family.
Mm-hmm.
Television is great because you're usually in town. Not always. The dramas are shooting all over the country now. So my preference is to work. I also do stand-up, which is tons of fun. I'm going to Chicago next.
Yeah, you're on tour right now.
April 11th, yeah. I've spaced it out, so I get a lot of time at home. But April 11th in Chicago at the Park West is my next gig.
Excellent. So people in Chicago, you need to go to this.
Yes, you do. Park West.
Park West. Awesome. So since we're running out of time, let's
get to them.
Our hardcover Honey is based in Kansas City, and she was very, very, very insistent that I ask you this question. Right. How do you think the Chiefs are going to do this year?
I think they're going to have a great season again. That we're going to improve ourselves again in the draft and with trades in the off season. It's Andy Reid's second year, and look how great he did the first year. I know some guys on the team. They told me he brought in 24 new coaches that kind of turned the program around. And so we're just going to build on last year. We were 1-0 in the playoffs again. So, yeah, I think we're going to be a real contender.
Awesome.
It's too bad we didn't get, what's his name, from Philadelphia, but maybe that's going to be the best thing for us.
If you can't remember his name, then it's not worth it.
Deshaun.
Now, do you get back to KC to go to games and stuff?
Well, my wife and I went to the home opener.
Oh, nice.
And I got to beat the drum down on the field. That was awesome.
And,
so I always watch them on television because I get the package on DirecTV. We're going back to Kansas City this summer for a charity benefit I do with Rob Riggle, Paul Rudd, Jason Sudeikis, and Eric Stonestreet because they're all from the area as well. It's called the Big Slick, and it benefits the Children's Hospital there in Kansas City.
Awesome.
So we do that every summer. So that's going to be in June.
Awesome. I'll make sure I'll put a link to that under this interview when I put it up on YouTube.
Thank you.
Final question that I ask everybody that comes on, regardless of who they are. If you could describe Cheap Thrills as a small furry mammal, what would you describe it as?
A ferret. No, you know what? A badger.
You know what? That's what Ethan said too.
A badger?
The honey badger.
Because a ferret can be tame, but
yes.
A badger, it's going to get you and never let go.
Yeah, no, nobody fucks with the honey badger. So.
Yeah, and the badger is the only enemy of the mongoose, right? So, I want to get your other friends' questions real quick.
Okay.
How does your comedy background help you in terms of how an audience will or won't accept you? I guess we kind of covered that one.
We did cover that one.
Kansas City. Oh, have you and Jim Gaffigan considered renting a giant RV and doing a nationwide summer camp? Nationwide tour / summer camp with all 10 of your kids. I'd buy a ticket to all 3. That's interesting. Jim Gaffigan and I both share the same manager. So it's...
oh my God, so it's possible.
It's possible. And, dare I say we should probably do it. Called the 10 Kids Tour. Just do it one summer. Do like...
Oh, yeah.
8 theaters. Because my kids' sports activities usually are done concurrently with school in June. So we could probably take the month of July one summer and do a big tour. That would be fun.
That would be awesome.
2 big tour buses. 2 big tour buses, not one.
No, it would have to be, oh my God, it'd have to be a couple.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would never put 10 kids all together and parents.
Or how about this? We'll put 10 kids in one bus and the 4 parents in the other.
Oh God.
Yeah.
And then put cameras in the kids' bus.
Yes. So that for our shows. That would be fun, actually. Did we get everybody's questions? We did, right?
I think so. Are there any final things that you want to say about Cheap Thrills?
Go see it. It will be in your top 20 of all time. What do you think, Kat?
No, I totally agree. I think it's definitely going to be one of those sleeper cult things that people just keep watching because there's always something more messed up about it that you're going to see.
It's so true.
Okay, do you have anything else that you want to plug before we go?
No, just the tour in April, the show at Park West, Cheap Thrills, Anchorman 1's on DVD, and it's loaded with all kinds of discs, so get that. If you're in Canada, No Clue is currently playing, so check that out.
Excellent.
But that's it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. So once again, I'd like to thank Mr. David Koechner for joining me today on Honey Radio. I hope you guys will all run out and rent, do whatever you can to see Cheap Thrills. It is an absolutely crazy ride, and there's really no way to describe it other than how David did, which is, this is a honey badger of a film. You can find the Horror Honeys on Twitter at Horror Honeys, HORRORHONEYS. You can find us at our website, thehorrorhoneys.com, and you can find our podcasts on Podomatic, Stitcher, the Wicked Radio Network, and live on Sundays on Radio Fubar at 5 p.m. PST, 8 p.m. EST. This is the Head Honey signing off. We hope you join us again for another episode of Honey Radio coming up soon. Bye.
I love to take my baby to a movie show so I can try to smooch her while the lights are low. But she won't cuddle to a story of romance. There's only one way I've got a chance. It takes the Batman, Wolfman, Frankenstein, or Dracula to put her in the mood for love. It takes the cat, girl, dog, boy, creature from the Black Lagoon